Greetings and a most amazing day, world. Welcome to this series on the culture of high expectations. Part 1. Question: how should a school principal set conditions for high expectations so teachers can independently implement policy in a way that benefits students, the school, but possibly increasing the teacher's workload temporarily? Well, first, let me introduce myself, share where I am with education innovation, and invite you to watch, share, follow, and let's learn together.
I am Dr. Willie Killins, special education teacher, teacher mentor, turnaround principal, state of education programs, professional school founder, and higher education instructor. I use artificial intelligence avatars to describe fictional and non-fictional stories of school improvement, all designed to make educators think deeply about their own practice implications and outcomes related to aggregated and disaggregated data, school culture, and innovative trends. I have a team of AI avatars, but I write the scripts for them and then use technology to make them virtually real. Currently, I'm working on turning these avatars into agents that are capable of facilitating self-regulated learning environments, K-12 and higher education students. Join me, some of my human friends, and my AI team of avatars to discuss deep diving scenarios in education. Always remember that you can reach out to Dr. Killins for school and district level services. Go to www.ouisn.org.
Mr. Barrett, an AI principal, shares his thoughts about proficiency performance, and he notes that his graduation rate is high, but student proficiency is low. And according to the state and national assessments, for example, when examining the proficiency performance scores for his 11th grade students regarding ACT English and mathematics, the proficiency statistics are far below the national averages. However, the school boasts a 95% graduation rate. Mr. Barrett mentions his upcoming retirement and reflects on some of the complexities associated with attempts to set high standards of expectation as a culture for his administrators, teachers, students, and his parents. In this episode, Mr. Barrett meets Dr. Killins. Dr. Killins has a son named Mark who was a student at Mr. Barrett's school. Mark caught a severe case of COVID just as the first semester exams were beginning. Dr. Killins and Mark followed the school's protocols. But what do you think surfaced? Let's meet Mr. Barrett and see if we can have a conversation about his thoughts.
Hello, I am Mr. Barrett, and welcome to my school. I am Principal Barrett, and I've been at this high school for 7 years. We managed to lift the school out of needs to improve status, and we have recently gotten many accolades in the press for our increased attendance and graduation rates. This, coupled with offering a larger selection of advanced placement courses, got the school a 3-star rating. I'll be retiring at the end of the school year and have done considerable reflecting. So, with all transparency, I have a few things I'd like to say. I wish in my career I was taught to focus more on student proficiency and individualizing educational conditions for all students. When I review the data from my school of over 3,000 students, none of the students register over 30% proficient in mathematics. Yet we have a 90% graduation rate. With such low proficiency scores in English language arts and mathematics, it suggests that students are not getting deep learning within their courses. Even though the school has attached rigor within course processes and standards of student academic behavior to pass courses, we had not given opportunities for students to saturate their knowledge in core subject areas. The process of a student getting to a certain grade and becoming deeply knowledgeable within subject areas is different. Saying there are too many students within a class at a given time to become more individualized is a display of complicity to a standard that is consistent, growing class sizes. We must reframe classroom learning and the school's capacity to provide individualized learning within whole group settings. This means a major shift in the school's dynamic of teaching and learning. Teachers will have to become more student and family-centered in thinking and implementation of classroom relationships. This epiphany was delivered to me with a scenario I recently had with an African-American father and his sons.
Mr. Barrett, my son came down with COVID-19 right before midterm exams. I did not want to send him to school sick out of concern for others. I called the school to find out the policy for students missing exams due to COVID-19. Mr. Barrett, the school directed us to email all the instructors individually about how to handle exams. Please note my son's email to the algebra teacher. Mr. Barrett, my son has a C in algebra without the exam. For the teacher to tell him his grade is high enough is unacceptable and a sign of deeper issues within your school's instructional staff. I had my son reply with a request to take the test and note the teacher's response. Mr. Barrett, this is unacceptable, and I wonder how many other students this happens to.
As the parent was talking, I reflected on the fact that African American students only registered 13.7% proficiency in mathematics. For the teacher to not allow access to the exam for a student who was in good standing and made the correct decision to protect others from COVID-19 is unacceptable. The parent is correct. Even worse, this African American student reached out to better his grade, within his right, and was rejected based on the teacher not wanting to take the time to offer the exam and know has impacted this student's permanent record.
Mr. Barrett, I didn't share this with you at the beginning of the school year. However, now is a good time to share my experience with one of your student counselors. Upon returning to this state and your school after the pandemic, my older son met with the assigned school counselor for his courses and pathway to graduation. It didn't go well. The counselor had dismissed an entire year of school he had done in Wisconsin. When I came to the school to meet with the counselor, he was very dismissive. I told him he read the student's transcript incorrectly and had missed an entire year of schooling. He refused to make eye contact until he pulled my son's folder, didn't open it, but handed it to me and said, "Show me, Mr. Killins." That's when he made eye contact. I opened the folder and immediately went to the transcript and showed him his error. I also let him know that I have a PhD and he should refer to me as Dr. Killins and the error needed to be corrected immediately. I also pulled the school's proficiency rates before I met with the counselor and shared disaggregated data about Black and Brown students and how his errors and the way my son and I were treated were consistent with documented achievement trends for Black and Brown children at the school. Mr. Barrett, the counselor was visibly disturbed and said, "Well, Dr. Killins, it seems I'll have to get this correct." As he was finishing, he sarcastically referred to me as Dr. Killins, placing disrespectful emphasis on doctor. I told him I appreciated his effort to correct his critical mistakes and whether he would like me to inform the principal of his generous time with us. I said, when I was a high school principal, I would have appreciated a parent letting me know a counselor took time to correct a mistake. He said that would not be necessary. Afterward, I had to have a deep discussion with my senior student about now potential target on his back with the school, and this exemplifies how the world works for him. Mr. Barrett, my oldest son at your school is 17, turning 18 in February. Consider how devastating a critical mistake would have been for this student. I am wondering how many other students, period, but specifically Black and Brown students, have been handled that way and don't know it or are unable to find a voice with the school to communicate.
The various school ranking categories have lifted this school to 3 stars. However, it's obvious that we are still a school in great need. Sometimes, what we see on paper is quantitative data that doesn't tell a qualitative story of need. How do I inject and maintain the type of empathy needed to ensure my school's academic climate and culture are safe and appropriate for all students? What is your suggestion? Please leave your disposition in the comment section. Outlook Academy is a place for principals to discuss deep educational phenomena that impact student achievement. Outlook Academy is a face-to-face and virtual coaching model for all educational stakeholders. The Academy places heavy emphasis on student proficiency performance, disaggregated data, models of teaching and learning to work into, and then maintain for Tier 1 instruction, and home-to-school capacity building to enhance achievement. Again, share your thoughts on the educational statements, highlights, or dilemmas presented by our A principal participants in the comment section. Despite where your organization is in the continuous improvement process, Outlook Academy can provide authentic and strategic professional development services and training, administrator and teacher coaching, special education services, community engagement, and family capacity building. Education is a national crisis for all students. However, together, we can reanalyze, reframe, and reignite our system for the sake of the children. If you are interested in Outlook Academy's face-to-face or virtual services, go to the bio or www.ouisn.org.